A lot of people, including myself, have struggled with procrastination at some point. Maybe it was not studying for an exam that you knew you had to study, or maybe you just didn't put out the trash like your mother said you had to do right now. It doesn't matter in which case you procrastinated. The feeling of regret afterwards is the same. We all wished we studied for that exam after we took it because we wanted a higher grade. And we also wished we took out the trash a few minutes earlier because now your mother is angry at you for not obeying her. So how can we beat this feeling of regret afterwards, and how can we boost our productivity level so that we can get more important things done without procrastinating? To answer these questions, we first have to understand what procrastination actually is in order to actually beat it or remove it from your life. By the definition from Google, procrastination is the habit of delaying an important task, usually by focusing on less urgent, more enjoyable and easier activities instead. That means, if we somehow learned how to be more productive, we would actually forget about this habit of focusing on easier and less important things. Let's all forget about procrastination for a second and let's focus on the solution: productivity. I prepared 5 tips you can start using right now that will truly help you with doing the hard or more important things you know you have to do, instead of leaving it for later and switching it for easier and more enjoyable stuff. Tip number 1. Make a timetable. Remember when you had, or still have, a timetable in school and you knew exactly when you had a certain subject? You didn't even have time to play video games or to do something else because your schedule was just too busy. That's exactly what we are trying to do here, making a schedule and knowing what to do at what time. Also, making sure to follow it is the most important part. Making a daily timetable is just helping you to organize your day, but following it is a different story. I use Google Calendar for this, but you can use any app you like. Tip number 2. The 5-minute rule. Whenever you feel like not doing something you know you have to do, you can apply the 5-minute rule. What that means is that you somehow force yourself to do this important task for just 5 minutes and to give it maximum attention. You can also time yourself if you like. This creates the momentum of actually starting, which for most people is the hardest part. After this 5 minutes, you will feel like you can easily do more, so that creates even more momentum, which means you have beaten procrastination. Tip number 3. Pomodoro technique. Maybe you've already heard about this tip, but it's still important to talk about it because maybe a lot of people still don't know about it. It means that you study or work for 25 minutes and take a 5-minute break. After that, you work or study for another 25 minutes and take a 5-minute break again. You can repeat this cycle for as long as you would like, but make sure you take a longer 30-minute break after a third 25-minute phase. This technique was proven to be the best at preventing brain burnouts. It also helps you to keep your brain and mind always fresh and ready to go after that 5-minute breaks. Tip number 4. Daily interest. As I talked about making a daily timetable, it is best to know what's the most important task of the day. This task should be usually put in the beginning of the day, where you have the most energy physically and mentally. Simply write down what you need to do today and mark the most important thing and put it at the start of your day. That way, when you will have less energy later that day, you won't be bothered with the hardest and most important task. Tip number 5. Focus on systems, not goals. I have taken this tip from a book called Atomic Habits by James Clear because I think it is really underrated for a lot of people, and because of that, a lot of them also fail. What it means is that we should mostly focus on a journey rather than on our goal. For example, it's not always good to think about how we are going to upload our first video on YouTube, but what is important is to actually enjoy the process of making that video. That will keep our wish of becoming a YouTuber for a long time, maybe even forever. That was all 5 tips that worked the best for me and I think will also work the best for you. But everything is basically useless if you don't implement these things into your life. Taking action is the most important thing of every self-help video or book. Nothing special comes with easy choices.